We've known for years, thanks to credible reporting, that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about wounded or dead soldiers. And now military veterans and spouses are furious because this weekend, instead of overseeing the dignified transfer of 4 deceased U.S. soldiers who died tragically in a training exercise in Lithuania on Trump's watch, Trump is instead going golfing. That's right. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Yep, this is what Donald Trump is doing this weekend. Now, he has spent a substantial portion of his presidency, which has only existed for 3 months, the second term, even though it feels like forever, going golfing, going back to Mar-a-Lago, millions upon millions of dollars of taxpayer-subsidized vacations for this lazy, incompetent president who is currently triggering a nation and potentially global economic catastrophe. But to make matters worse, he could be doing what he should be doing, which is overseeing the dignified transfer of 4 dead U.S. soldiers who died on his watch. As Rolling Stone and others reports, Trump skips honoring soldiers killed in Lithuania to watch golf. The president is hiding on the green as markets react to his tariff regime and 4 fallen soldiers are returned to the United States. The Lithuanian president, government dignitaries, religious leaders, military personnel, and thousands of spectators gathered on Thursday to send the remains of 4 American soldiers killed during a training exercise back to the United States for burial. They're arriving at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware on Friday, and while their bodies will be received by several senators and members of the military, the commander-in-chief couldn't be bothered to make the trip. He had a golf tournament, a gold tournament, to attend. Instead of receiving the remains of the soldiers under his command, Trump will be attending a Saudi-backed LIV golf tournament at his Dorsal Resort and golf course in Florida. According to Fox News' Jennifer Griffin, the president has chosen to send Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth in his stead. According to Punchbowl News, Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin, as well as Senators Tammy Duckworth and Chris Coons, are expected to attend, all Democrats. Staff Sergeant Jose Duenes Jr., 25, Staff Sergeant Edvin Franco, 25, Private First Class Dante Titano, 21, and Staff Sergeant Troy Knutson Collins, 28, all members of the 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division, died last month after their vehicle seemingly sank in a swamp during efforts to recover another vehicle that had broken down during a training exercise. When Trump was first asked about the disappearance of the soldiers during an Oval Office gaggle with reporters, he claimed to have not been briefed on the matter. Well, I should take a look at that right now. Because again, not only is this despicable, just imagine how right-wing media would have reacted if President Biden was asked a similar question under similar circumstances and gave this answer.
About soldiers in Lithuania. Have you been briefed about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
Have you spoken?
Total indifference. No, I haven't. Next question. Maybe you should actually care about 4 missing soldiers in Lithuania. Of course, they were later confirmed dead. Now, as bad as this is, we're actually seeing some pretty visceral reaction from veterans and spouses, military spouses, as reported by Mediaite. Vets and spouses outrage over Trump blowing off dignified transfer of slain soldiers for golf event. Trump is opting to attend a golf event at his Doral golf course instead of attending a dignified transfer of slain soldiers at Dover AFB. Mediaite spoke to several military veterans and spouses, each of whom expressed outrage that the commander-in-chief appears to have prioritized the promotion of a professional golf event by the Saudi-backed LIV Golf over honoring 4 soldiers killed in service in Lithuania. Trump again has decided to send Pete Hegseth to Dover Air Force Base for the dignified transfer of 4 American soldiers killed in a training exercise. Mediaite spoke to Joe Stutler, a U.S. Army veteran who joined the military in 1982, served 2 tours in Desert Storm, and left in 1992, followed by an 8-year stint in the National Guard. Quote, "This stuff matters to me," he told me. Quote, "I can't begin to express my disgust with what this admin is doing to the troops and the veterans. The CUS staff at the VA have once again, this is the guy who calls us losers and suckers, coming home from dying in service, and I'm going to hang out with the Saudis because of golf. I'm disgusted at a minimum." Quote, "You don't have to have worn the boots to be commander-in-chief," he continued. "It's not mandatory, nor should it be, and that's how it should be. The Defense Department needs civilian leadership. But virtually every other president we've had has had the honor and integrity to recognize that those who've paid the ultimate price, who have made the ultimate sacrifice, which they made for their fellow human being. and they did it for people they never met, and we owe these people a huge amount of gratitude and respect. Trump has never shown gratitude or respect for those who gave. Absolutely just wrong on this issue. Quote, I've never been so embarrassed to be an American than I have these past few months, and now Donald Trump is completely disrespecting 4 of my brothers in arms to play golf, Blythe Potter told me. She served in the military police corps and was deployed to Iraq from 2005 to 2006. Well, given what Trump has done to geopolitical relationships, Poland and Lithuania have no reason to concern themselves with doing us any favors by bringing our fallen soldiers home for us, but they cared more for the deceased than Donald Trump has or will. She added, quote, it's my opinion that the commander-in-chief doesn't care about our troops, dead or alive. Ouch. Harsh, but fair. Quote, unfortunately, many of our friends did not make it home for the war, Rebecca Sanderlin told me. She lives in Virginia Beach and is the wife of an Army veteran who served 26 years before retiring. Quote, we were married for 17 of those years, all 17 spent during wartime. I'm very sad for our president, who was offered that honor and opportunity but chose not to accept it. I'm sure it would have meant a lot to those families to have our military's commander-in-chief with them to greet our fallen heroes at Dover, she added. Quote, I hope he will reach out to those families in the coming days, and I hope they realize how grateful our nation is for their loved one's sacrifice and that we're all grieving with them now. See, another quote. Quote, I'm appalled but not surprised by President Trump's recent decision to skip the dignified transfer ceremony at Dover AFB of the 4 soldiers that tragically died in a training accident in Lithuania to attend the reception dinner for the Saudi-owned LIV Golf League event at his Florida golf club, said Scott Peoples of Raleigh, North Carolina. He's an Army veteran and former officer of the 82nd Airborne Division and now works for the organization Veterans for Responsible Leadership. Quote, it's just another data point that proves Trump doesn't give a damn about America's military service or service members. Quote, he can't comprehend the concept of serving a cause greater than oneself. Nothing matters to him other than money, power, and ego, and that is why he looks down with contempt on those who would die in service to their country. He truly does see us as suckers and losers, and for this he does not deserve the title of commander-in-chief. Our brave troops and their families deserve so much more. When asked for comment, the White House gave Mediaite the following statement from Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt. Quote, the Secretary of Defense will represent the administration at the dignified transfer for 4 brave U.S. service members who died tragically during a training exercise in Lithuania. But the bottom line is it's not like Trump had more pressing concerns. It would be one thing if he had a state obligation, some sort of, he was overseas or he was giving the State of the Union or he was in high stakes negotiations here at the White House. It would be much more understandable if he were doing something related to his damn job, but he's not. And again, what makes this just worse overall, there are 3 things really. He's out golfing or watching golf, not just refusing to oversee the dignified transfer of 4 U.S. soldiers who died on his watch, but he also triggered a nationwide and potentially global economic catastrophe. And again, he's golfing or watching golf rather than dealing with the consequences of it and trying to assure the American people that he has it under control when he obviously doesn't. And number 3, we know how right-wing media and much of mainstream media and certainly Republicans would react if under the same circumstances President Biden were back in Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. We know how they would react. But once again, Trump is being graded on a curve, and we shouldn't let him. Democrats should be absolutely calling him out for this shit, calling him out for his callousness and indifference, his hypocrisy, and once again reaffirming this is not the first time we've had credible evidence that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about the military, but this is the most viscerally disgusting example in recent memory. That's why so many veterans and their military spouses are so pissed. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.